First, I just want to let you know, just in the last 30 minutes, the scene here along Great Hills Trail cleared up. We're talking about 10 hours after that first call came in to police. I'm also noticing some of those tree limbs hanging a little bit lower than they usually do because they're hanging from that weight of the ice. I spoke with that 15-year-old's mother last night, and she tells me her son is in the hospital recovering. You can see those bullet holes here at the end. Part of that wall to that mobile home, you can see the window right there. And the typhoon is not the only developing news here, guys, that we're getting new information. I can tell you the French Olympic Committee just announced that their men's basketball medical and support staff will have to be quarantined because someone on their plane over to Tokyo tested positive. Then you have a Dutch rower who also tested positive. There are homes down the road from me. There's an apartment complex right next to me, and that's where neighbors say it was hard to sleep last night after hearing all those gunshots, some even seeing the man get killed. And as you mentioned, the scene is now cleared, but you can still see some of the markings from that officer involved shooting. There is absolutely no hugging. The reason I wanted to come right back on is because I actually stepped away and walked down a little bit to see if I could see those apartment units that we're hearing about that have caught on fire, part of it, and I actually found one of the neighbors, Jason here, Gillespie, who lives in that apartment complex. Police are still on the scene and they will remain here to investigate what exactly led up to this apparent hostage situation that turned deadly. As you mentioned, 2 people are dead, and while police have not yet identified the victim or the suspect at this time, it appears they were both doctors. Police fired off rounds of non-lethal rounds like this one. This is a beanbag. Minutes before the poll site was set to open at 7 o'clock this morning, they started to have issues. Of course, you have the traditional fair rides like the one I'm on right now. I am coming in hot this weekend. All right. So after the game, there's going to be a post fireworks show. Now, yeah, you're right. It looks a little bit more calm, but yeah, it's been kind of coming in waves all morning. There's a cute little traveler right here. Hi, good morning.
He's going to go talk to you.
Yeah, folks, I'm sure ready to go home. The Texas French Bread Bakery on Rio Grande Street near 29th and Waterloo caught fire around 11 last night. This morning, it's still unclear what caused it. Good morning, I'm Candy Rodriguez. Despite the frustrations here in Austin, the CDC says nationwide vaccine rollout is working. Election day is officially over, and one of the most controversial issues on the ballot yesterday is projected to pass, Proposition B. That's the measure that would reinstate the citywide public camping ban. Welcome back to KXAN News at noon. It's 12:14. You're taking a live look at our Whittlesey landscape camera out in Round Rock. There you can see I-35 traffic during this lunch hour. Looking a little cloudy out there. We're going to check in with Mark Kenya here in a second to get a better look at our forecast. Well, President Biden is reportedly planning the first major tax hike in federal taxes in almost 30 years. Today, firefighters in Bastrop will begin doing something called fire line rehabilitation in the area where the Rolling Pines fire burned. It is now 100% contained. Firefighters credit yesterday's rain for that. The fire burned just over 800 acres. One person is dead and another may not make it. The shooting happening around 10:30 last night in between 2 restaurants on the I-35 South Frontage Road. Owner of House Park Barbecue tells KXAN he plans to rebuild after fire destroyed his legendary restaurant. What a lovely idea for such a sweet holiday. The San Antonio Zoo will let you donate money to name, get this, a roach, rat, or a vegetable after a person. Well, let's talk some football. It was a big night for several Longhorn football players last night after 5 players were selected in the NFL draft. A heat wave sent many Italians to the beach this weekend, including a man in an inflatable T-Rex costume. He paddled his surfboard offshore. Hot air traveling across the Mediterranean from Africa is expected to stick through the weekend with temperatures above 100. And Sean, who says T-Rex can't float?
Yeah, why would you do that though?
I know. Can you imagine? It's already really hot and now you're in a suit.
But did you see how beautiful that beach was?
Oh,
I wish I could be there.
Amazing. I mean, we have the weather for it, right?
Yeah, we certainly do. Very similar weather here.
Candy Rodriguez spoke with a man who caught himself in the middle of a tornado.
The one thing we never wanted to happen happened.
For the last 3 years, Jose Mendez and 6 others have called what was once this mobile home home. Monday afternoon, it was ripped from them in a matter of
10, 15 seconds, the longest seconds of my life.
Mendez says he was asleep when he heard his roommates talking about a tornado. That's when they stepped outside and he captured this.
Se miraba donde venía el viento.
We could see the wind and thought they were birds flying, but it wasn't birds, it was debris.
All 7 ran next door, seeking shelter. Thankfully, they all survived. Mendez ended up with a slight cut on his hand. Only one of them had to be taken to an area hospital for a cut on his leg. Today, Mendez's nephew, Gabriel Torres, is helping, cleaning up,
Eggs are fine.
salvaging what little they can.
It's shocking. You know, I would see this kind of stuff like in movies, a TV show, something like that. But when you experience it so close, it's like, you know, the power Mother Nature has. I mean, obviously you can't compete with that, so.
Mendez is just thankful to be alive.
Bendito sea Dios, tenemos trabajo.
Thank God we have a job. We are going to work and move forward.
It's a song you wouldn't expect to hear coming from a small bar in Tokyo. But it's music like this Takashi Yoshino has been listening to since he was in high school.
Waylon Jennings.
The Little Texas owner fell in love with country music, barbecue, and two-steppin' as a young man. His love for all things cowboy would lead him to opening up this honky-tonk more than 15 years ago.
I wanted to introduce Texas country music in Japan.
From the Lone Star State license plates and the neon signs that adorn the walls reminding people don't mess with Texas, to showing off some Texas school pride, preserving a Whataburger cup, and the taped bull riding competition on the big screen, Yoshino and his wife have embraced the cowboy culture. And it's a passion they're hoping to pass along to Japan's younger generation.
We share a good time with country music.
In Tokyo's Little Texas.
Thank you.
I'm Candy Rodriguez.
Oh, you're gonna like that.
Never frozen, fried to order. That's what Dave Curbo prides himself in as the founder of Catfish Parlor.
Big cat, you want it all regular, right?
All regular, yes, sir.
He opened the North Austin restaurant nearly 50 years ago, and for many of those years, people like Bruce Moore have been stopping by to get their fix of fried fish, hush puppies, and...
I love the cinnamon apples.
But it's the people who keep customers coming back. People like Tony, who has been spending the last 32 years sharing his contagious laughter with diners. There's also Sean, who's been at Catfish Parlor for
Almost 21 years.
Shelly,
18 years.
and many others have spent a decade or more at the restaurant.
Mira, compra una cerveza para todo el mundo, para todos, ¿ah?
There's a lot of memories in this place. I wish I could win the lottery out there and buy it and keep it going.
But for Curbo, it's time to find bigger fish to fry.
You haven't reconsidered yet, have you?
Reconsidered what?
On selling out.
The guy's got to retire.
I just figured that I could sell our real estate, take a long vacation.
Every day, Chris Story drives 3 hours.
It's really a purpose-filled drive.
Round trip.
I almost feel like I'm on a mission.
To Fayette County.
I live in College Station still.
The Texas A&M graduate student who has dreams of one day becoming a doctor shows up here, the LaGrange Family Health Clinic. That's because the 24-year-old leads the county's in-home COVID-19 testing program.
I know it's cliche to say you want to help people.
The program targets those who are unable to leave their home.
Okay, so we've got 10 at-homes today.
People who may be homebound, lack transportation, or may have been exposed to the virus.
The common denominator here is people who can't get to a clinic or a source of healthcare to get the test themselves. I feel like we're really catching people who could potentially fall through the cracks.
Since the program kicked off in November, Chris has been able to test over 100 people across the county through nasal and spit test. Chris says he understands the risk, but he won't stop. He says he'll continue to do it as long as there's a need.
People are still getting sick. People are still getting infected. I know pandemic fatigue can be a real thing, but we're not out of the woods yet.
And with each home visit, Chris gears up in new PPE to ensure everyone's safety. Test results come back within 48 hours. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Candy.